Adrian's life changed with a traffic stop. It was a routine night, and he was driving home from work when the flashing lights appeared in his rearview mirror. He was 30 years old, with a life full of responsibilities and dreams. He had lived in the US since he was 2. California was his home. He spoke English fluently, and it was the language of his thoughts and dreams. He worked hard every day. He paid taxes like any other citizen. But Adrian was undocumented, a fact that haunted him. That traffic stop sent him to a place he barely knew. Mexico. Mexico was foreign, a land of his ancestors but not his own. The language was a barrier. Spanish, though familiar, felt distant and challenging. He stumbled over Spanish, his tongue tripping on unfamiliar words. Each conversation was a struggle. He missed his life in California. The Golden State was where his heart belonged. His friends, his job, the familiar routines. Everything he had built over the years, his family, he felt lost without them, like a piece of him was missing.
He found work at a call center, a job that allowed him to use his English skills. He answered calls from Americans, helping them with their queries. Their English washed over him, a painful reminder of what he'd lost. Each call was a connection to a life he could no longer live. He felt like a stranger in his own land, surrounded by unfamiliar faces and places. He felt betrayed by the country he'd always called home, a place that had turned its back on him.
Maria was just 4 years old when she first came to the US with her family, full of dreams and hopes for a better future. Now, years later, she was being sent back to a country she barely remembered, ripped away from her 2 US-born children. The pain was unimaginable. They were her world, her everything. Every moment spent with them was precious. The separation was unbearable. Maria ached for her children every single day. They remained in the US with family, trying to adjust to life without their mother. She lived in a crowded border shelter, surrounded by strangers. She worked odd jobs to make ends meet. Anything to survive. Anything to get back to her children. Her determination was unwavering.
Every day was a struggle. The loneliness was suffocating. The language barrier made everything harder. The lack of support was overwhelming. The constant fear of the unknown loomed over her. But Maria clung to hope. Hope that she would see her children again. Hope that they would be reunited. Hope that one day they would be a family again, living together in peace and happiness.
Chicago. Javier had spent 28 years there. It was all he knew. Then he was deported to Tijuana. He had no family there, no friends, no connections. He was alone. Tijuana was dangerous. Cartels preyed on deportees. Javier felt vulnerable. He was an outsider, unwelcome.
He had no way back to the US, no legal path, no options. He was trapped. His future was uncertain, filled with fear and despair. Adrian, Maria, and Javier are not alone. Their stories are just a few among countless others. They are 3 stories among thousands, each one a testament to the struggles faced by immigrants. Victims of a broken immigration system, they face uncertainty and fear every day. Uprooted from the only homes they've ever known, they are forced to leave behind their dreams and hopes. The US government calls it deportation, a legal term that masks the pain it causes. But it is a human tragedy. Families are torn apart, lives are shattered, communities are left in disarray. The 1996 Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act made it easier to deport people. Even for minor offenses, lives are disrupted. The end of DACA protections left more people vulnerable, adding to the growing sense of insecurity. Increased ICE enforcement spread fear throughout immigrant communities, making everyday life a constant struggle. These policies have a human cost. They are cruel. They are unjust. They tear at the very fabric of our society. We need a better way. A way that respects human dignity and fosters compassion. A path to citizenship for those brought here as children who know no other home. A more humane approach to immigration. One that values families and communities. We cannot continue to uproot lives and abandon people. We must do better. We must find a way to keep families together and support those who seek a better life.